Hi, welcome to Wild Speculations, the show where we talk about Critical Role and our theories about where it's going. This week we're going to talk about episode 10, Waste and Webs, and what we predicted correctly, and
Well, what you predicted correctly this time.
Yeah.
You were pretty on it with your speculations last week.
yeah. I said it's going to be a face spider. And I said the Knights of Requile are going to be a main quest line.
Well, you said there. Well, I think our split was whether Vox Machina was going to have to seek them out, or they were going to seek Vox Machina out.
And I said they were going to come.
Yeah. Or not Vox Machina, the Mighty
Nine. Got my notes. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, because it's basically right near the top of the episode, was Jester not knowing how far her letter had to go and the gold had to come. Because we debated whether or not it was naivete or ignorance or forgetfulness, a combination of any of those three.
And I'll agree with the most part, but I'm still pretty sure the majority of it is an act. A self-delusion. I don't think she's as simple-minded as she comes off.
Yeah.
I think that's intentional. I think it's intentional as a defense mechanism. And I think that relates back to my theory.
Yeah.
That she's actually just an orphan with these delusions of what's happening.
Yeah. That her mother isn't really who she claims is her mother isn't really her mother.
Yes. That is my theory, and I'm sticking with it. And nothing in her personality dissuades you from that. If anything, it leads you towards that.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, you had an interesting observation vis-a-vis the my insistence that the Fae were going to be a thing.
Yes. I have a straw for you to grasp at, campaign-wide, just hit me. But it's not the Fae in the way you were thinking.
Yeah, as antagonists.
And, well, it's not necessarily that they want to end up antagonists, but
that's true too.
Just they're not going to come about in the way that you thought.
Yeah.
And that is the Traveler. The Traveler's holy symbol is the door. Matt has made it very clear with Will Friedle's character of Cash, with interviews, that you do not need to be a deity to have clerics.
Yeah. Just like you don't need to be a deity to have warlocks follow you.
Or you can be a deity and have warlocks. Give a warlock pact and give them arcane power.
Yeah.
I believe his name was Grimelli.
I think it's Grimelli.
Grimelli. The Fae that Vox Machina was supposed to build the door. I believe they did build the doorway. The doorway, that open doorway, is his.
Well, they didn't do it on stream.
They didn't do it on stream, but I like to think maybe they did, or at least. But anyway, my theory is that Grimelli is the Traveler.
Yeah. When you told me that, I was like, oh,
fuck. With the open doorway, referencing Vox Machina and their promise.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to travel back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Grimelli.
The fact that he appears as a hooded figure.
Yeah.
And is a he. So it's not a Vandra reskinned.
Right. I am going to throw my wild speculation out and say that Grimelli is the Traveler.
And I love that. And I really want you to be right.
It's not too late to make it right, Matt.
Yeah, and like I was happy enough with the Fae spiders being close to the Fae and that being my thread, but that's way better. Which begs the question: if that is revealed,
Okay.
does Jester become a Fae Pact Warlock? Multi-class.
She could. I guess it all depends on how it plays out and how it's revealed.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting. We'll have to see, because I think she has a 13 or 14 charisma.
Yeah.
Because Caleb's is 16, right?
Yes, and he's the second highest.
Yeah. So all she needs is a 13 to multi-class into the
Right.
Fae Pact Warlock.
Right.
But can you imagine her invoke duplicity, and then she gets the reaction face step if she gets hit?
Yep.
I mean,
The Misty Escape.
yep. So they asked Matt what time of year it is when Caleb went shopping for a cloak. And Matt said late fall, that the Harvest Close Festival is coming up, which he mentioned last week.
Yes.
Or the week before.
Yes. It's about a couple of weeks away, they said?
Yes. 2 weeks out from when he announced it 2 weeks ago, which is only a day.
2 weeks our time.
A day their time. But that he made the point that it's nearly winter and that it's getting cold.
Yes, and that Wild Mountain is known for cold winters.
Yes. So that clicked in my head when we were talking a couple weeks ago about when we thought they would level up.
Mm-hmm.
And we said that at downtime, and we were like, well, how long is that going to be? And I think you had mentioned 6 episodes, something like that, 6 or 8 episodes. And I was like, yeah, that probably sounds about right, which would coincide with winter.
Yeah, and the Harvest Close. Yeah.
So I think, and that would also tie into the timing of the first campaign, because they had the Winter's Crest Festival, that first one, just before the stream went live.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have this one, the Harvest Close Festival. They'll do, what are you guys going to do? And they'll jump forward, because armies don't march in winter in this time, well, I say this time period, in before automotive transportation.
Yeah.
When your beast of burden will freeze to death and so will your army. You don't march in during the winter time.
Unless you just got to get some elephants across the Alps.
That's true. Although he did that in fall, not winter. It was October when he was crossing the Alps. Technically.
When he started.
Yes.
It was definitely winter while he was crossing.
But so yeah, that trick that flipped my switch when that part came around. I was like, oh, there's our downtime. It's going to be they'll shut down for winter.
I can see that.
And then spring will start, and the new adventuring will begin.
Yeah, I can see that.
The other thing that I thought was interesting, Nott gets the Ring of Water Walking from Jester.
Yeah.
And I was kind of sad by that. Because when I played a rogue and we were in the sewer, I had great fun in bonus action, dive below the murky surface, hide, swim, come up, sneak attack on my next turn, and then dive.
Yeah, but your character wasn't afraid of water.
This is true. But tips out there if you're playing a rogue and you want to hide in the sewer and there's nothing else around. Yes, it's kind of gross, but
Yes. Just a little bit.
if it guarantees that sneak attack every single turn, I mean, you can't go wrong, really.
It's true.
Although, I think that was 4th edition. It might have been 4th edition, where sneak attack was a little harder to proc. Now you just have to have an ally adjacent.
Right.
But yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Still a good idea.
Yeah. The other thing that I found was that I kind of laughed at was last week we were talking about how creepy the Traveler was.
Yeah.
And that he
Which
could end up
fits with
being a villain. And yeah. And they were joking that the Traveler was it.
Good old Pennywise.
And I was like, huh. Well, at least they recognize the fact that this thing is creepy.
So you think that means Jester's real name is Georgie? Georgia? They all float down here in Georgia.
Well, I thought it was funny when Liam he folded the little boat. But Matt threw sort of a curveball into traditional sewer run.
Yeah.
With his exploding rats.
Yeah. That weren't entirely rats.
Yeah. And I love the mechanic that he built in. And that the players figured it out.
Yeah. It
basically right away.
Made for a nice shock. You're like,
yeah.
Because, I mean, normally you're like, oh, rats. Okay.
Not a big deal. Kill him. Bang! Oh, shit. Ow, they hurt when they die. Fuck.
Yeah.
And then Bo kills him with her staff, and it doesn't explode. Because bashing doesn't provoke the behavior.
Doesn't puncture the skin.
Yeah. So, that was great.
And then there was not.
Which was my favorite part of that fight. Because, like, rewatching it is when I really noticed it. That basically the combat starts and everybody runs to defend Caleb.
Well, I mean, you go down every other fight, 2 out of every 3 fights, people are going to start, well, let's try and not waste the healing spells on him.
That's true. That's true. But that's part of
being a wizard.
Well, and it's also part of a couple weeks ago on Talks. Travis was talking about how they need to figure out, what everyone can do, everyone's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I think that fight was the first sort of falling into a pattern.
Yeah.
Of who needs to get protected, who the priority is, and that kind of thing. And not got to pay it forward to Bo.
No, I'll pay it back to Bo.
Sure.
Because if you rewind back to the Howling Mines, Bo saves Not.
Yep.
In the final moments of a fight, near the final moments of a fight.
Saves.
By grabbing her and running, and she gets attacked during that time.
Forgetting that the rogue gets bonus action disengage, so Not was never really in danger.
Right.
After the Manticore strikes were done for the turn, she acted before the Manticore in initiative.
Yeah. Yeah, and Sam even said he was going to do Tasha's Hideous Laughter and then move away. If that didn't work, he was going to bonus action disengage.
Yeah.
So he was covered.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
But she returned the favor by shooting the rat, and it exploded. Little sad, it only did 1 point of damage.
Right. Right.
I mean, I'm personally sad. I don't like
It would have been poetic irony if it had taken Bo down to 0.
Yes.
I don't know that she was that wounded that it would have, but if she had been, that would have been just.
Although I think. Oh man, now I almost want to. I gotta check it out now. I think. Not only had 1 to 3 hit points when the Manticore's opportunity attack went off.
I believe so. Yeah, she was pretty low.
So, it is an almost even trade.
It is. Yeah.
So okay, that makes it a little better. But yeah, I love that mechanic that he threw in.
What do you think made those rats?
Not 100%, but I think it feeds into my thought that Matt is being influenced by the Fisher King.
Okay.
That the king is corrupt, or the emperor in this case, and so the land is corrupt. And I think they're just a manifestation of that corruption.
Okay.
And I think it's a nice way to, because in the monster manual, one of the sidebars by the rat entry is that some rats carry disease.
Right.
And it gives you the mechanics for checking for your players getting diseased.
Yes, but nowhere in that sidebar does it say some rats are approximately 1/3 refuse.
No,
In their makeup.
that's true. But here's they have a cleric.
Ish.
Well, she's a cleric. She could, in theory, if someone got a disease, she, in theory,
could
cure disease. So it's not really a big deal for him to throw that at them.
Yeah.
And also, it's not something that's dangerous now.
Right.
Whereas poison damage or poisoned condition, which for half a second I thought that's what he was going to throw at them. Like instead of just
Which
damage.
Is not fun.
Yeah. Just boom, puff, make your con save. You fail, you are poisoned for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Because that would have made the phase spider fight even worse.
Oh my god.
If they had been poisoned.
They'd have been dropping.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost did.
Well, Ford sort of went down.
Sort of.
Which I'm glad Travis remembered. Wait!
Well, to be fair, he forgot last time, and D&D Beyond put you're at 0, you're a half orc, do you want to use? They put that pop-up in the system because of that. They made that announcement the following week.
Huh.
When he went down, he's like, I forgot. He's like, but the good news is because I forgot, D&D Beyond put this in their system.
I missed that.
And so that's why he remembered, because he hit the 0 and he's like, oh, because it popped up for him.
Nice.
So way to go, Watsy.
I like Liam's comment about the Illuminati being wrong, that he really is a half-orc. But I never thought that he wasn't a half-orc. But, and I made my note here, and Schmidt makes 9. Although I had forgotten we had already made the joke about Jester's duplicate. I was just thinking of the cat.
Yes.
But I think it's... So this is something that now Liam and Chris Straub have in common.
Okay.
They named their unseen servant. Cthulhu's unseen servant they call it Velvet. And it's because the first time he summoned him, so as not to freak people out, they draped a velvet curtain over it. So it was like a Halloween ghost.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, he named him Schmidt. So someday, and possibly sooner than later, someone is going to make the joke that they're in deep Schmidt.
Yep. Or Schmidt out of luck.
Yep. Yep.
You think he has a creek?
Yep. And Matt, I think, used the phase spider effectively.
Oh yeah, that was a great fight.
Ford went down 2 hits, got back up, and didn't go back down again.
Yeah.
I think they took a turn longer than I would have liked to figure out, position yourself with the most angles and ready your action. And here's a tip for you if you are ever fighting, a phase spider. If you can sort of set yourselves up like the Purina logo, where there's a square between each of you, the phase spider can't come into the middle of you. So if you have a caster that you need to protect, you put them in the middle of that checkerboard formation.
Yeah. But also remember that the character should know about phase spiders.
True.
And I mean, you could do that in the first fight after you've kind of seen some things.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was in a position where we're in a enclosed space and this thing is appearing from nowhere, that's what I'm doing.
It's true.
I'm making so that there's not space between all, because basically what you're doing there is you're making sure there's no space within your party for that thing to appear. If it's going to appear and attack anyone, it has to do it on the outside. And
that's when the really nasty DMs throw in phase hatchlings and the little medium-sized babies, phase spiders.
Yes. The other mechanic I really loved in this episode that Matt basically ruled at the table was Bo's, well, can I jump up and hit it? Yeah. And he's like, okay, sure, you can try. You have disadvantage, and if you miss, you'll be prone. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
And I think I like it because it uses the mechanics of 5th edition in such a way that it's easy. It illustrates how easy it is to adjudicate something.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's no rule for that.
Yeah.
But and it made sense, and everyone was, well, I shouldn't say everyone was happy about it, but most people at the table were happy about it. And I love Mercer. Well, can I spend a key point? No.
This was a ready to action.
And after they killed it and they were talking to the halfling, Thade.
With the nice little serpent tattoo.
Now they all went to Thad's dead from Pulp Fiction, but in my mind, in the moment, I went Thade Ralpha.
Okay.
Is Sting playing a dwarf in this?
Yeah, so we get our first real connection to the Myriad.
Yep.
And explain that, and I forget who made the check. Was it Molly or not? That knew it was the Myriad and that they started in Wild Mountain and even spread it to Taldore.
I think it was Molly.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was not for some reason, but regardless, they found that out. And then Bo tried to identify the tattoos and what they mean.
Yeah.
And got the one. And didn't learn anything about them. But they do get to see the tattoo again later on.
Yes. And they saw it on multiple people down there.
Yes.
Um,
Well, there was only 2 patrons in the bar when they went in.
well, I mean in the sewer. I think there was a couple other people, other victims of the face fire.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's because they found out the myriad had been using the sewers for smuggling.
Yeah. We also got our first cross-campaign continuity.
Yeah.
And
I missed it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people probably did. Because Ashley whispered it.
Yeah.
You can't. I could not hear what she asked. But in context, I realized, oh, she's asking about Pike's ship.
Right.
And Matt makes the roll, and he says, actually, yes, that is on there.
Yeah. So Pike's pirate ship has been referenced in both.
Which is pretty impressive for a ship to be like that, to be afloat that long.
Yeah.
So.
Or that particular guy was really old and served on a lot of ships.
True, we didn't get a super great description of him. After they get out of the sewer, Caleb tries to trade with Ford.
Well, okay, before that happens, I want to touch on something.
Okay.
Molly pulls Caleb aside. Gets right up in his face.
Yeah.
And here's my thing, okay? He gets right up in his face, and I don't know if it's just how I was reading how Taliesin was role-playing it. But he tells him, I don't care if you're going to skim from the top, but be subtle about it and leave 60, 70% for the rest of us. So take a 30%,
Yeah.
But the way he did it, 2 things, okay? One, he was almost scolding him out of admiration for what he did. He was almost impressed. 2,
Okay.
especially, how he's like right there in his face and kind of just does the gentle pat on the cheek. He was almost flirting with Caleb.
No, I took that as he knows Caleb is uncomfortable with closeness and uncomfortable with touching. And he was doing everything in his power to make him as uncomfortable as possible.
Possibly, but I don't know. There was something in just like the crook of Taliesin's smile that made me think that he was trying to flirt with Caleb.
I think he wanted Caleb to think that.
That could be. And if so, kudos, because you got me thinking that. But I thought that was interesting, kind of a look into the Molly-Caleb dynamic and their...
Well, and it also shows that, you were right that Molly is probably going to be the moral compass of the group. But he's going to do it in a much different way than Keyleth did.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It might be a broken compass still, but he is the compass.
Yes.
It's kind of like north by northeast instead of pointing true north.
Now we've been talking about Caleb, and is he a noble? Is he a scholar, or is he a charlatan? Is trying to figure out where he's at in that background space. And on my first watch, I basically saw that exchange as a player trying to get a magic item that he wanted. and having another magic item that he sort of greeted.
Yeah.
Which also makes me wonder if Caleb might turn into the person who holds items back. Because he was sort of playing with that, and Marisha called him on it.
Yeah, with the glove initially.
Yeah. And I think that he's been biding his time for the next loot to try to get that glove.
Yeah.
And this time he's like, look, I want to make a trade. And I don't know if this is what Liam was going for, but the way I read that on my second viewing was almost like a junkie trying to get a fix.
Okay.
Because he was almost desperate in his body language and tone when he's asking for that. Like, it was very much like the Chappelle Show. You got any more of that? I was like, I wonder if he's a firebug.
It could be.
Like, we talked about how we speculated on that maybe he killed somebody he loved by accident.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that's looking more and more likely.
Right, only not the type of accident we thought.
Yeah.
That may be a spell gone wrong.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at committed arson. Oh, wait. Someone I love is in there.
Yeah.
I still think he's at least upper echelon, noble birth.
Yeah.
And like we discussed last week, I think he flat out lied about the money his parents made. When he said, that's more money than my parents made in their entire lives.
I mean, yeah. I'm still not 100% on board with that. But
I'm still convinced that the reason he's dirty, the reason he's doing this, the reason he went to the city is, like I said, it's a lot easier to go unnoticed in a large city than in a small town.
Yeah.
Even if there's people in that city that know you.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to be, the one thing that argues against it, and really the only thing in my mind that argues against it, is him trying to get into the rich part of town to go to the smut shop.
Yeah.
Which, why would you want to go into the rich part of town? Because you're going to... But here's what I think is going to happen. Okay? He knows Little Knot can pick locks. Yeah. I mean, whether or not he knew it before. He's proven... Yeah. She's proven that she can pick the great locks. Sewer grate. Yeah. He's got the keen mind. We talked about this already. He's going to memorize a path to that part of town.
Yeah, well, and they all made the comment. They're like, well, now we know the way in there.
Right. Here's the thing. Disguise self, yeah, it faded when he got... But I think that's just a thing.
At the gate.
At the gate.
So do I.
Go through the sewers, disguise self, walk out, and go about your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're going to see that. At least attempted. How successful it ends up being, because he is going to have to find a way back into the sewers because they are guarded.
Well,
but unless the guards leave now because the face spatter's been dealt with.
Yeah. Because it seemed to end the story. The narration basically was that they were there keeping people out because of how dangerous it was.
Right. Now the dangerous past,
they just might leave them locked.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see that. Couple of things in the Ford Caleb though exchange. Caleb made the statement, "I used to think I was going to be somebody, but I think that opportunity is, I no longer have that opportunity."
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think lends credence to our theory of, something went wrong. And,
Yeah, I think he was on his way to the Solstice Academy.
Okay.
And whether it be a full ride scholarship sort of situation or whatever, or he was lying and his parents were going to pay for him to go.
Right.
But yeah, for sure. And him saying that isn't. Well, it does prove that he is planning a inverse arc for Caleb.
Yeah, and he also made the statement, "I have an interesting history with fire."
Yeah.
Those are the two statements that stood out to me.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why, like that statement and the way that he asked for the glove and everything, I was like, I wonder, maybe he was a firebug.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the way that he said that isn't going to make Ford give up either.
No. Well, and he did say, and this could be taken a number of ways, but he did say, he kind of trailed off. He said, "Why don't you ask me again in a couple of days when I've had time to prepare an answer, a better answer?" So and Travis and Ford took it as, okay, the guy doesn't really trust people. He's quiet. He's beginning to trust me. He's trying to find the words for this. So
But
I'll
you
ask
think
him.
he's trying to
But I
lie?
think he's trying to come up with a why. He's trying to come up with a better lie.
Yeah.
He was caught off guard. He thought armor for the glove, it's going to be a good trade. He's not going to. And he got caught on the spot. And he wasn't sure what to say. And so he trailed off and asked me again in a couple of days when I've had time to prepare a better answer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But he got the glove. He got his fix.
He did. So, here's a question for you.
Okay.
If you have a magic item like that, or even the wand of magic missiles,
Okay.
do you open with that to preserve your spell slots, or do you spend your spell slots and keep that as a backup?
I just don't prepare Scorching Ray. I prepare other shit than because I've already got Scorching Ray if I need that.
Touche. But I think Caleb's intelligence is high enough and his spellbook lean enough
that he can prepare everything.
Yeah.
In that case, I use the glove before I use the spell slot. Okay. If I need to use Scorching Ray, I use the glove first. Because if later on, if I use the slot for Scorching Ray, and later on I need another spell, I don't have the slot, but I still have the Scorching Ray in the glove, but that's not going to do me any good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I play. More efficient.
Yeah, I think I would tend to use my spell slots first.
Okay.
And keep my items for backup.
The only way I would do the spell slots first would be
if I hadn't used Arcane Recovery yet.
Well, that, or if I say don't want them to be aware that the glove is magical, so that I can keep it with me.
Yeah.
And then later have something if I need it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's that was the interesting resource management question that I had, is how is Liam gonna do that? Because with
or is he gonna get the itch and burn something down?
Yeah.
Is that why he wanted to go see? I mean, he likes books, but he only wanted to see the outside. Was he looking for structural points to see where to burn? Was that fire bug in him?
Wow, that's dark, dude. That's dark.
Well, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. Yeah. So we got all this stuff happening with Caleb,
Mm-hmm.
and not they they decide that they have to clean up before they go out and party. And
Excuse me.
and rather than party at the inn they're staying in, they decide we're gonna go out. And then they try to go up to the Tri-Spire, get kicked out. But in the meantime, while they're cleaning up,
Mm-hmm.
and Matt says we're just gonna fast forward this. And his player sort of rose up a little bit in rebellion.
We will role play the washing.
I don't know why exactly. They've become fixated on this.
Yeah.
Other than perhaps the Vex Percy bath just left such an indelible mark on him.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, because Liam did mention having been the victim of this before.
All baths opaque. Yeah. Oh, I really wanted to draw Yasha getting out of the bath. I just didn't have the chance to. Because I had an image in my head that would have been like great. And I don't know if I would have put like Bo in the foreground, just the back of her watching Yasha get out or not. That wasn't the important thing, like in the image I had in my head. But I know a lot of people were probably drawing it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, opportunity missed on my part. But not going into the bathroom to try to get Ford's letter.
Yeah.
What do you think was her motivation to do that?
I really don't know. Because it doesn't fit what she's established as her criteria. Because she's said multiple times she doesn't matter how valuable it is to them.
Yeah.
So why does she want it? And it's not shiny, it's not fancy. You know.
And it puzzled me too. Until right before I asked that question.
Okay.
I think she was planning to take the letter, forge one for Caleb.
Oh, that could, yeah. I could see that.
Like, that's the only thing that makes sense for her to do that.
It's true.
I mean, the exchange between...
Or for herself.
No. She's too terrified of being discovered.
It's true.
To do anything like that. I think she would be content to help Caleb get in and then learn from him.
Yeah.
But I think part of Not believes that it was wrong for Jester not to get that for Caleb as well.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I'm on board with
Well,
that.
maybe not wrong, but she should
Not
have.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also it makes it an interesting connection between Jester and Ford, that she did it for him and not Caleb.
Well, the thing is, though, Ford has made a point of wanting to go to the academy.
That's true.
Caleb is brushed off the academy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He said in the beginning that that's a place for people who think they're somebody, and he's also now stated that
he thought
he was going to be and doesn't think he's got that opportunity anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see why she didn't. I don't think Caleb took it as slighted.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think he would have wanted it.
Yeah, no, I think it was Sam setting up a long con.
Yeah.
One of his long con games.
Yeah.
To give Caleb.
I want to make a hat.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. This was going to be the version of that. But they went out to their drink. Oh no, the Knights of Requital was before.
Yes, the Knights of Requital. So you got that one too. They came up.
Yep.
They approached them. The one semi-shady dwarf,
Ulag,
came up and approached them. Now, you mentioned a statement he made that I had missed about the change coming and they want to ride the wave.
Yeah. Yeah, because when that was going on, I was scribbling notes and like quoting him.
How do we really think that these are good guys?
Yeah,
Does this go back to our chained oblivion theory?
Exactly.
Are they good guys, but there's a sect that's corrupt? Like Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, so it can go either way. And we won't know until next week. Or this Thursday.
Right.
Because until they have that meeting with them.
Yeah.
But it could go either way right now.
Yeah.
Because they could be willing or unwitting collaborators with the Chained Oblivion.
Well, he could be like Agent Ward. The Hydra inside of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. That's true too. But I think it functions from a storytelling perspective.
The same.
It functions better for him to start foreshadowing that and to play into the Fisher King angle.
Yeah,
if they are good guys. If they are indeed good guys and are going after the bad guys.
Well, I think they are good guys, but I think they're, like I said, the Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. I think there's a sect inside them.
Yeah, that could definitely be true.
And that both helps him tell the Fisher King, helps him tell the current arc, but foreshadows the main overarching arc.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this guy is targeting the guards who put his wife in prison.
Okay.
For just being nearby. Possibly the lawmaster that put her in jail.
Okay.
Which, if I remember his story right, didn't seem to indicate that it was the old woman that they met.
Okay.
The elderly woman lawmaster when they got their gold. The fact that he said that change is coming means that this is a movement that's been gaining momentum.
Yes.
And that it's not just in Zadash.
Yes. And it's not just the Knights of Requital.
Yeah.
Which is what led me to believe, which is one of the reasons I think the sect within a sect.
Yeah. And I mean, the Myriad, too, has stuff to gain if they succeed in whatever they're going to do.
It's true.
Which brings in the gentleman. And which means we'll have the meeting this week. They'll get the sales pitch. And that's going to be after they have done whatever investigating they're going to do of that bar and the gentleman.
So they go to the bar.
Which I'm sort of concerned about for their safety. Because I don't think they have a plan. Like, I don't think they have any, other than basically just saying it. Either saying that passphrase right off the bat, or talking about it in there.
I'd like a drink, but without coin. But I have no coin, though I have plenty of gifts or something like that.
Yeah, perhaps I can give a gift or something. Yeah. Yeah, that's. I hope they don't use that right away. I think they need to be in that bar a few times.
I think. Okay, I think that, and this is not in any way sexist, but I think the boys aren't going to use it, but any one of the girls I could see using it right away.
See,
Bo is going to get too impatient.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about.
Jester just jumps for the gun on everything.
Yeah.
And Nod, if she is questioned, is going to get flustered and say it. If someone actually interacts with her,
sorry.
But anyway, I don't think Caleb would say it right away. I don't think.
Yes.
I think Molly's background with the circus and stuff is such that he wouldn't do it, and Ford is definitely the cautious one.
Yeah, I think Molly is on board for casing the joint.
But with their personalities, I can see Bo, Jester, or not using it right off the bat.
Yeah, Bo for sure, and that's sort of what I'm worried about.
See, I'm almost more worried about Jester. I can see them going in, oh, I'm just going to go up to someone and, well, we're here to see the gentleman.
She did do that on the road, and I think it was Jester who said it to the innkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, if I were you, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. And Jester does that kind of stuff a lot. Oh, we're going to go do this. Well, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to go. I just walk over and do it.
Yeah. So we could have this week's session start off with a bar fight. Going into a secret meeting, which could end in another bar fight.
Yes.
See,
Bo, I'm almost borderline with. She might get impatient and do it, but at the same time, she's now Cobalt Soul, and she's learning to watch and read people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just depends on which side of her wins out, whether she does or not. Jester is just happy-go-lucky and impetuous. She, in my opinion, is the most likely to say it off the top.
Yeah, or try to be cute and work it into a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he did say, and they don't have to say the whole phrase, because
the gift is important.
Said the many gifts to give is the important part of the phrase.
Yeah.
So she could try to work that in another way. And be cute. Oh, we're just here because we have many gifts to give. Oh, really?
Yep. That's going to happen. That is going to happen. So, yeah. I guess we'll see on Thursday if that does happen.
Yes.
We'll find out whether or not the Knights of Requital are good guys with possible corruption in the middle, or somewhere in between. And whether or not the gentleman is a potential ally in that struggle, or an enemy.
Yeah.
We're going to go watch Talks.
See you guys.
See ya.